Anthony Hopkins, the legendary actor behind Hannibal Lecter, faced a real-life nightmare with his uncontrollable addiction. His drinking led to blackouts, missed performances, and broken relationships. At his lowest, he woke up in strange places with no memory of how he got there. But a chance meeting at an AA meeting turned his life around. Let's get into the shocking details of his struggle and how he found a way out. Philip Anthony Hopkins, born in 1937 in Port Talbot, Wales, wasn't the most enthusiastic student during his early school years. He preferred to immerse himself in creative pursuits like painting, drawing, and playing the piano rather than focusing on academics. This lack of interest in traditional subjects often left him feeling inadequate and ridiculed by his peers, fostering a sense of inferiority. In an attempt to instill discipline, his parents enrolled him in Jones's West Monmouth Boys' School in Pontypool in 1949. However, his stay there was short-lived, lasting only 5 terms. He later attended Cowbridge Grammar School in the Vale of Glamorgan, but his struggles with learning persisted. In a 2002 interview, he candidly admitted to being a poor learner, which fueled his feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Despite his academic challenges, Hopkins found inspiration in fellow Welsh actor Richard Burton, whom he briefly met at the age of 15. Though he admired Burton's talent, Hopkins later clarified that they weren't close friends, despite the common misconceptions stemming from their shared Welsh heritage. In 1957, Hopkins graduated from the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff, where he had honed his acting skills. He then fulfilled his national service obligation, serving in the British Army's Royal Artillery Regiment from 1958 to 1960. It was during this time that he earned the nickname Gunner Hopkins. Following his military service, Hopkins returned to his passion for acting and moved to London to study at the prestigious Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA. This marked a pivotal moment in his career, as he received rigorous training and mentorship that would lay the foundation for his future success. In 2005, a new portrait of Hopkins was featured in RADA's centenary celebrations, a testament to his enduring legacy and impact on the institution. Anthony Hopkins's professional stage debut took place in 1960 at the Palace Theatre in Swansea, where he performed in Swansea Little Theatre's production of Have a Cigarette. His talent didn't go unnoticed, and in 1965, after years of honing his craft in repertory theatre, he caught the eye of the legendary Laurence Olivier. Olivier, recognizing Hopkins's exceptional promise, invited him to join the esteemed Royal National Theatre in London. Hopkins became Olivier's understudy, a role that would prove pivotal in his career. In 1967, during a production of August Strindberg's The Dance of Death, Olivier fell ill with appendicitis, and Hopkins stepped in to take over the role of Edgar. He delivered a mesmerizing performance, earning rave reviews and solidifying his reputation as a rising star. Olivier himself acknowledged Hopkins's talent in his memoir, stating that the young actor walked away with the part of Edgar like a cat with a mouse between its teeth. This experience was transformative for Hopkins, who had previously struggled with stage fright. Olivier's advice to him, "Nerves is vanity. You're wondering what people think of you. To hell with them. Just jump off the edge," resonated deeply with Hopkins and helped him overcome his fear, paving the way for a confident and successful career on stage and screen. Hopkins's talent continued to shine in various mediums. He made his small screen debut in a BBC broadcast of A Flea in Her Ear in 1967. His first starring role in a film came in 1964 with Changes, a short film directed by Drew Henley. However, his breakthrough role arrived in 1968 with The Lion in Winter, where he portrayed the complex and conflicted King Richard the Lionheart. This performance earned him a BAFTA nomination for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, further establishing him as a rising star in the film industry. He continued to impress audiences with his portrayals of iconic figures, including Charles Dickens in the BBC television film The Great Inimitable Mr. Dickens, 1970, and Pierre Bezukhov in the BBC miniseries War and Peace, 1972, for which he received the British Academy Television Award for Best Actor. In 1970, he starred in Frank Pearson's neo-noir action thriller The Looking Glass War, followed by Etienne Perrier's When 8 Bells Toll in 1971. Hopkins then embarked on a fruitful partnership with director Richard Attenborough, collaborating on 5 films throughout his career. In 1972, he portrayed the influential influential British politician David Lloyd George in Attenborough's Young Winston. This role showcased Hopkins's ability to embody historical figures with depth and nuance. Continuing his exploration of historical figures, Hopkins reprised his role as David Lloyd George in the BBC miniseries The Edwardians in 1973, which aired in the US the following year on Masterpiece Theatre. He also starred in a film adaptation of Henrik Ibsen's play A Doll's House, sharing the screen with esteemed actors like Claire Bloom, Ralph Richardson, Denholm Elliott, and Edith Evans. Hopkins's versatility as an actor was further demonstrated in the comedy The Girl from Petrovka, alongside Goldie Hawn and Hal Holbrook. He also ventured into the suspense genre with Richard Lester's Juggernaut, co-starring Richard Harris and Omar Sharif. In October 1974, Hopkins returned to the stage in a groundbreaking role as the troubled psychiatrist Dysart in the original Broadway production of Peter Shaffer's play Equus. His powerful performance earned him the Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Actor in a Play for the 1974-75 season. The late 1970s saw Hopkins continue to take on diverse roles. He starred in the sequel to National Velvet, titled International Velvet, alongside Tatum O'Neal and Christopher Plummer, directed by Brian Forbes. In 1977, he reunited with Attenborough for the World War II film A Bridge Too Far, portraying British Army officer John Frost. Hopkins's ability to seamlessly transition between genres was once again evident in his starring role in Attenborough's 1978 psychological horror film Magic. His chilling portrayal of a demonic ventriloquist earned him critical acclaim, with renowned film critic Gene Siskel naming it one of the best films of the year. In 1979, Hopkins returned to the stage, playing Prospero in a production of The Tempest at the Mark Taper Forum in Los Angeles. This diverse range of roles, spanning from historical dramas to psychological thrillers and Shakespearean classics. In 1980, Anthony Hopkins took on a role that would further solidify his reputation as a versatile and captivating actor. He starred in David Lynch's critically acclaimed film The Elephant Man, portraying Sir Frederick Trevis, a compassionate doctor who takes in Joseph Merrick, played by John Hurt, a severely deformed man in 19th-century London. The film was a critical and commercial success, earning 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. However, 1980 was also the year of a notorious on-set clash for Hopkins. He co-starred with Shirley MacLaine in A Change of Seasons, a film that was a box office and critical disaster. The tension between the two actors was palpable, and Hopkins later infamously labeled MacLaine as the most obnoxious actress I have ever worked with. This clash of personalities added to the film's overall negative reception. Despite the setback with A Change of Seasons, Hopkins continued to shine in other projects. In 1981, he took on the challenging role of Adolf Hitler in the CBS television film The Bunker. His portrayal of the dictator in his final days was praised for its intensity and depth, earning him a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series or Movie. Critics lauded his ability to make the monstrous Hitler a compelling and understandable character, despite the inherent difficulties of portraying such a controversial figure. In the same year, Hopkins embodied another historical figure, playing Paul the Apostle in the biblical drama and miniseries Peter and Paul. This role, opposite Robert Foxworth as Saint Peter, showcased his ability to portray religious figures with gravitas and conviction. In 1983, Anthony Hopkins became a member of the Mirror Theatre Ltd's repertory company, further solidifying his commitment to the stage. He continued his theatrical pursuits in 1984, starring as Dealey in Harold Pinter's play Old Times at the Roundabout Theatre in New York. That same year, he shared the screen with Mel Gibson in The Bounty, portraying Captain William Bligh in a more historically accurate retelling of the mutiny on the Bounty. In 1982, Hopkins showcased his versatility by taking on the role of Quasimodo in the CBS television film The Hunchback of Notre Dame, alongside a talented cast that included Derek Jacobi, David Suchet, Tim Pigott-Smith, Smith, Nigel Hawthorne, and John Gielgud. He then appeared in a series of films throughout the mid-1980s, such as Strangers and Brothers, 1984, Arch of Triumph, 1984, Guilty Conscience, 1985, Mussolini and I, 1985, and The Tenth Man, 1988, demonstrating his ability to tackle a wide range of characters and genres. In 1985, Hopkins returned to the stage at the Old Vic in London, starring opposite Colin Firth in Arthur Schnitzler's play The Lonely Road. He then took on the role of Lambert Leroux in the National Theatre production of Pravda, a satirical play about the British newspaper industry during the Thatcher era. His acclaimed performance earned him the Laurence Olivier Award for Outstanding Achievement, with Frank Rich of the New York Times praising him for creating a memorable image of a perversely brilliant modern-day barbarian. Hopkins's passion for Shakespearean theatre led him to star in David Hare's production of King Lear at the National Theatre in 1986. He considered King Lear his favorite Shakespeare play, and his portrayal of the tragic king was met with critical acclaim. The following year, he continued his exploration of Shakespeare with the role of Antony in the National Theatre production of Antony and Cleopatra, opposite the esteemed Judi Dench. In 1989, Hopkins made his final West End stage appearance in a production of M. Butterfly. He later described the experience as a torment, recounting a matinee where the entirely Japanese audience remained silent throughout the performance, leaving the cast feeling disheartened. Despite the mixed experiences on stage, Hopkins continued to excel on screen. In 1989, he starred as Abel Magwitch in the miniseries adaptation of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. This performance earned him his fourth Primetime Emmy Award nomination. In 1991, Anthony Hopkins delivered a career-defining performance as the chillingly brilliant cannibalistic serial killer, Hannibal Lecter, in Jonathan Demme's The Silence of the Lambs. His portrayal of the manipulative and enigmatic Lecter earned him widespread acclaim, including the Academy Award for Best Actor, a BAFTA Award for Best Actor, and a place on the American Film Institute's list of the top film villains. Director Jonathan Demme specifically sought a British actor for the role, believing that a British accent would enhance Lecter's manipulative use of language. At the time, Hopkins was contemplating a return to London theatre, having grown weary of his Hollywood career. However, the opportunity to play Lecter was too enticing to pass up. Hopkins's portrayal of Lecter was nothing short of masterful. He infused the character with a chilling calmness and an unnerving intellect, making him both terrifying and fascinating to watch. His performance alongside Jodie Foster, who also won an Oscar for her role as Clarice Starling, created a dynamic on-screen duo that captivated audiences and critics alike. The film itself was a major success, winning 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. The success of The Silence of the Lambs catapulted Hopkins to international fame and solidified his status as one of the most talented actors of his generation. Hopkins went on to reprise the role of Lecter in 2 sequels, Hannibal, 2001, and Red Dragon, 2002, further cementing his portrayal as the definitive Hannibal Lecter. However, he declined to participate in the 4th film, Hannibal Rising, 2007, stating that Red Dragon would be his final performance as the character. Following his Oscar win, Hopkins continued to take on diverse roles, showcasing his versatility as an actor. He appeared in the Australian comedy drama Spotswood and the science fiction thriller Freejack in 1992. He also played supporting roles in Richard Attenborough's biographical drama Chaplin, 1992, as Charlie Chaplin's biographer, and in Francis Ford Coppola's horror adaptation Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992, as Professor Van Helsing. These roles, though smaller in scope, further demonstrated Hopkins's ability to inhabit a wide range of characters and contribute to the success of various film projects. In 1992, Anthony Hopkins continued to showcase his talent in period dramas with Merchant Ivory's adaptation of E.M. Forster's novel Howard's End. Playing the reserved and pragmatic businessman Henry Wilcox, Hopkins acted alongside Emma Thompson, and Helena Bonham Carter. The film garnered widespread critical acclaim, with critics like Leonard Maltin praising its exceptional quality in every aspect. This successful collaboration with Merchant Ivory led to another notable project in 1993, The Remains of the Day, also based on a novel, this time by Kazuo Ishiguro. Set in post-war Britain, Hopkins delivered a colossal and tour-de-force performance as the emotionally repressed butler Stevens. According to The Hollywood Reporter's David Hunter, the film was hailed as one of the greatest British films of the 20th century by the British Film Institute, and Hopkins himself considered it among his favorite works. His portrayal earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor and the prestigious BAFTA Award for Best Actor. That same year, Hopkins portrayed the renowned Oxford scholar C.S. Lewis in the biographical film Shadowlands, garnering another BAFTA nomination for Best Actor. He also starred opposite Isabella Rossellini in the drama The Innocent, adapted from Ian McEwan's novel. During this period, Hopkins had the unique opportunity to work with Bart the Bear, a trained Kodiak Bear actor, in two films, Legends of the Fall, 1994, and The Edge, 1997. Hopkins developed a deep respect for Bart, treating him as a fellow actor and spending hours observing and admiring him. He even performed many of his own scenes with Bart, showcasing his willingness to embrace unconventional acting partners. By 1998, Hopkins had become Britain's highest-paid actor, starring in blockbusters like The Mask of Zorro and Meet Joe Black. He also agreed to reprise his iconic role as Dr. Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal for a then record-breaking fee of $15 million, solidifying his status as a sought-after and highly respected actor in the industry. In 2000, Anthony Hopkins lent his voice to narrate Ron Howard's live-action remake of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, adding his gravitas to the beloved holiday tale. However, his most notable project that year was reprising the iconic role of Hannibal Lecter in Ridley Scott's sequel to The Silence of the Lambs, simply titled Hannibal. With Jonathan Demme and Jodie Foster declining to participate, Scott took over as director, and Julianne Moore replaced Foster as Clarice Starling. Hopkins, having previously worked with Moore on Surviving Picasso, 1996, agreed to return as Lecter, expressing his approval of the script. Notably, a scene from the book involving Lecter disguising himself with bandages was omitted from the film, as both Scott and Hopkins agreed to maintain the character's recognizable appearance. Hopkins offered insight into his interpretation of Lecter, describing him as a classical Lecter in Florence, delivering lectures and exuding charm. However, when the story shifted to the U.S., Hopkins altered his appearance, bulking up and sporting a shorter haircut to portray Lecter as a mercenary capable of immense physical strength. Hopkins further emphasized Lecter's complexity, describing him as a Renaissance man and a Robin Hood of killers, targeting those he deemed deserving of punishment. Hannibal achieved immense commercial success, breaking international box office records with a $351 million gross. However, it received mixed reviews from critics, with some praising Hopkins' performance, while others criticized the film's deviations from the source material. Hopkins returned as Lecter once more in the third installment of the franchise, Red Dragon, 2002, co-starring Ralph Fiennes, Edward Norton, Harvey Keitel, Emily Watson, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. The film garnered favorable reviews and was a box office hit. This marked Hopkins' final portrayal of the iconic cannibalistic serial killer, leaving an indelible mark on cinematic history. In 2003, Anthony Hopkins received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a testament to his enduring legacy and contributions to the film industry. He continued to take on challenging roles, with his portrayal of Burt Munro in the 2005 film The World's Fastest Indian being a personal favorite. Hopkins identified with Munro's outlook on life, finding the role easy to embody due to their shared perspective. His contributions to cinema were further recognized in 2006 with the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award for Lifetime Achievement, followed by the BAFTA Academy Fellowship Award in 2008, the highest honor bestowed by the British Film Academy. In a 2003 Channel 4 poll, Hopkins was ranked 7th on their list of the 100 greatest movie stars, solidifying his status as a beloved and respected figure in the entertainment world. In 2010, Hopkins was cast in The Rite, a film about exorcism, playing a priest with unconventional methods. Despite being an agnostic, Hopkins injected his personal beliefs into the character, adding a layer of complexity to the portrayal. He embraced the uncertainty of faith, stating, "What I enjoy is uncertainty. I don't know. You don't know." Hopkins's career continued to flourish with diverse roles. In 2011, he was cast as Freddie Heineken, the owner of the Heineken Brewery, in the film Kidnapping Freddie Heineken, released in 2015. He also ventured into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, portraying Odin, the All-Father of Asgard, in the Thor franchise, appearing in 3 films from 2011 to 2017. In 2012, Hopkins embodied another iconic figure, Alfred Hitchcock, in Sasha Gervasi's biopic Hitchcock, alongside Helen Mirren as Hitchcock's wife, Alma Reville. The film delved into the making of the classic thriller Psycho and the events that followed. Hopkins's versatility as an actor was further demonstrated in the comedy action film Red 2, 2013, where he played the main antagonist, Edward Bailey. In 2014, he took on the biblical role of Methuselah in Darren Aronofsky's Noah. He continued to explore diverse genres, appearing as Sir Edmund Burton, a member of the Order of the Witwickens, in Transformers: The Last Knight, 2017. In 2015, Anthony Hopkins returned to the stage in a BBC Two production of Ronald Harwood's The Dresser, alongside Ian McKellen, Edward Fox, and Emily Watson. This performance held special significance for Hopkins, as it allowed him to work with actors he had admired from afar and to portray another actor, a role he found particularly enjoyable. He described the character of Sir, an aging actor-manager struggling with insecurity and ego, as the highlight of my life. The experience also brought a sense of belonging and acceptance for Hopkins, who had long grappled with feelings of isolation and alienation. His career continued to flourish on the small screen, with a starring role as Robert Ford in the HBO sci-fi series Westworld in 2016, for which he received a Primetime Emmy Award nomination. In 2018, he portrayed King Lear in a BBC Two television film adaptation co-starring Emma Thompson, Florence Pugh, and Jim Broadbent. This performance earned him a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination, with critics praising his devastating portrayal of the tragic king. In 2019, Hopkins delivered another powerful performance as Pope Benedict XVI in Fernando Mirella's The Two Popes, opposite Jonathan Pryce as Pope Francis. This film, set in the Vatican City amidst the Vatican leaks scandal, explored the relationship between the two popes and their differing views on the future of the Catholic Church. Hopkins expressed his delight in working with Pryce, both hailing from Wales, and their chemistry on screen was evident. The film premiered at the Telluride Film Festival to critical acclaim and was later released on Netflix. Both Hopkins and Pryce received widespread praise for their performances, earning nominations for their work at the Academy Awards, Golden Globes, and British Academy Film Awards. In 2020, Anthony Hopkins delivered a tour de force performance in The Father, portraying a man grappling with Alzheimer's disease. The film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival to critical acclaim, with Hopkins's performance hailed as a standout and an Oscar contender. The emotional depth and raw vulnerability he brought to the role resonated with audiences and critics alike, making him a frontrunner for the Academy Award for Best Actor. The Father, directed by Florian Zeller and based on his Tony Award-nominated play Le Père, co-starred Olivia Colman as Hopkins's daughter. The film's poignant exploration of memory loss and the complexities of familial relationships struck a chord with viewers, solidifying Hopkins's reputation as a master of his craft. Hopkins himself acknowledged the significance of the role, describing his experience working with Coleman and Zeller as a potential highlight of his career. He expressed gratitude for the opportunity to collaborate with such talented individuals, citing his recent work with Ian McKellen in The Dresser, Emma Thompson in King Lear, and Jonathan Pryce in The Two Popes as additional career highlights. His exceptional performance in The Father earned him his second Academy Award for Best Actor, making him the oldest person to win the award at the age of 83. In a heartfelt acceptance speech delivered via social media from his homeland in Wales, Hopkins expressed his surprise and gratitude for the honor, also paying tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman, who was also nominated in the category. Following his Oscar win, Hopkins continued to take on challenging roles, demonstrating his unwavering passion for acting. In 2022, he appeared in James Gray's semi-autobiographical drama Armageddon Time, portraying a kind and wise grandfather. Critics praised his performance, with A.O. Scott of the New York Times noting his ability to convey the underlying strength beneath his character's warmth and humor. In the same year, Hopkins reunited with Lorian Zeller for The Son, co-starring Hugh Jackman. He continued to explore diverse roles, portraying real-life figures like stockbroker and humanitarian Sir Nicholas Winton in the biographical drama One Life, 2023, and renowned psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud in Freud's Last Session. His early life was marked by a sense of isolation and a lack of direction. By his own admission, he struggled academically and found solace in the arts, particularly acting. However, it was during these formative years that Hopkins first encountered alcohol. In the 1960s, as his acting career began to take off, so did his drinking. Hopkins moved to London to pursue acting more seriously, and in 1960, he enrolled at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA. It was a time of great change and excitement, but also one of immense pressure. Hopkins began to rely on alcohol as a coping mechanism for his insecurities and the stress of his budding career. The drinking started innocently enough, with a few drinks after performances, but it quickly spiraled out of control. By the late 1960s, Hopkins was gaining recognition for his work on stage and in film. In 1968, he received critical acclaim for his role in the film The Lion in Winter. However, behind the scenes, his alcoholism was worsening. Hopkins later recounted how he would drink excessively, often blacking out and waking up in strange places. He described this period of his life as chaotic and out of control. One particularly harrowing incident occurred in 1975. Hopkins was in New York City for a theater production when he went on a drinking binge. He blacked out and woke up in a hotel room, unsure of how he got there. It was a wake-up call, but not enough to make him stop drinking. The years that followed were marked by similar episodes where alcohol seemed to be his only constant companion. In 1980, Hopkins's career reached new heights with his role in the film The Elephant Man. Despite his professional success, his personal life was in shambles. His marriage to his first wife, Petronella Barker, had ended in divorce in 1972, largely due to his drinking. He remarried in 1973 to Jennifer Linton, but his alcoholism continued to strain the relationship. By the mid-1980s, Hopkins's addiction had reached a breaking point. His behavior was becoming increasingly erratic, and he was frequently missing rehearsals and performances. It was during this time that Hopkins had a life-changing encounter. On December 29, 1975, he woke up in a hotel room in Arizona, once again having no recollection of how he got there. He realized he was at rock bottom and needed to make a change. Desperate for help, Hopkins attended an Alcoholics Anonymous (AA) meeting. It was here that he met a woman who would become instrumental in his recovery. She introduced herself as Ella, and she told Hopkins something that would resonate with him deeply. "Why don't you just trust in God?" This simple suggestion had a profound impact on him. Hopkins decided to give it a try, and he began to attend AA meetings regularly. Hopkins later reflected on this period of his life, saying that his sobriety felt like a miracle. He admitted that he had tried to quit drinking many times before, but had always relapsed. This time, however, something felt different. He embraced the AA program and found solace in the support of other recovering alcoholics. He also began to explore spirituality, which provided him with a sense of peace and purpose. One of the most challenging aspects of Hopkins's recovery was facing the damage his addiction had caused. His relationship with his daughter Abigail was strained due to his years of neglect. Hopkins made a concerted effort to rebuild their relationship, acknowledging the pain he had caused. It was a slow and difficult process, but over time they were able to reconcile. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Hopkins's career continued to flourish. He received widespread acclaim for his role as Hannibal Lecter in the 1991 film The Silence of the Lambs, for which he won an Academy Award for Best Actor. Despite his success, he remained committed to his sobriety. He attended AA meetings regularly and often spoke about his experiences with addiction and recovery. In interviews, Hopkins has been candid about his struggles with alcoholism. He has described himself as a loner who used alcohol to escape from reality. He admitted that he often felt out of place and uncomfortable in social situations, and drinking provided a temporary sense of relief. However, he also acknowledged that alcohol had nearly destroyed his life. Hopkins's story is one of resilience and determination. He has often spoken about the importance of taking responsibility for one's actions and making a conscious effort to change. He credits his sobriety to the support he received from AA and the spiritual awakening he experienced during his recovery. He has also emphasized the importance of finding a sense of purpose and staying focused on one's goals. In recent years, Hopkins has continued to enjoy a successful acting career, with roles in films such as The Father and Westworld. He has also become an advocate for mental health and addiction recovery, using his platform to raise awareness about these issues. In 2017, Hopkins celebrated 47 years of sobriety, a milestone he described as a gift and a blessing. Looking back on his journey, Hopkins has expressed gratitude for the second chance he was given. He has spoken about the importance of forgiveness, both for oneself and for others. He has also emphasized the need for compassion and understanding when dealing with addiction, recognizing that it is a disease that affects millions of people worldwide. Anthony Hopkins's battle with addiction is a powerful reminder of the challenges many people face and the strength it takes to overcome them. His story is a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of seeking help when needed. It is also a celebration of the human spirit and the ability to find hope and redemption even in the darkest of times. Today, Anthony Hopkins continues to inspire others with his talent, resilience, and unwavering commitment to sobriety. His journey serves as a beacon of hope for those struggling with addiction, reminding us all that it is never too late to make a change and embrace a new beginning.